This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs the Playbook. I have a dear friend, Phillip Stutts, and he is the CEO and founder of Win Big Media. And now I'm going to start right where we just left off.
All right, let's do it.
You said you're going to save it for the pod.
Yeah.
I really love the line, learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Oh, totally.
And there's so many situations that I'm in that I'm super comfortable in and not aware, like other people may not be.
Yeah.
And so you and I were tracking each other. We wanted to meet.
Yeah.
And I get into New York usually for 36 to 48 hours. And you're like, hey, Dave, can we meet up? I landed and came right into a pub, bar, and restaurant, and that somebody else was meeting me at without telling you that we were meeting other people. And you told me, which I thought was really cool, you're like, I'm in at the bar thinking you and I are going to meet, and then there's like 25
Your
eclectic
was
people.
there, right?
Give me your perception from, because I really
well,
want to
let's
feed
just start
people.
this. I walk into the bar, and it's all in the financial district of New York, and they're all these financial guys, and they're so wasted. And I'm at the bar by myself waiting on you, and like a fight breaks out with the bartender and one of the financial guys who's just wasted, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Like,
Nice.
Oh, come on, Dave, get here. And then I show up, and there's an entourage like 20 with you, and I'm like,
But
what
did you know those people that were already there waiting for
No.
me? Because I didn't even know.
No.
I didn't know they were all there.
But you
either.
put me in my out. Like I'm not like I'm a one-on-one guy for the most part.
Yeah.
But I love that. Like I usually go to bed at 8:30. I met you like 10.
Yeah.
And like so I was like out of my comfort zone completely. But that's a good thing, and I think that's sort of a metaphor for business and life.
So it's so funny, other people's perception, and I like to teach people it's not what you see, you're actually projecting. So for me, I see you as like total extrovert. I'm like, yeah, he'll be cool. I'll just, shove him into the mix. We have all types and sizes, and there's a wide variety of people. But I'm looking over at you because you and I had just met, and we got a good 5 minutes at most in before we sat down at the table. And you're in like deep conversation. Everyone loves you. You're totally connected. Didn't look like to me at all you were uncomfortable.
No, because once I dive in, I'm fine.
Right. So diving in is the hard part.
Yeah.
And why do you think someone like you who fits in really well, hyper intelligent, charismatic, articulate,
Sure.
like why is that beginning part so uncomfortable for you?
Oh man,
Because you're good at the back end.
Your pod is way too short for me to get into that.
Oh, yeah?
But I mean, I like I'm on this journey right now. I'm doing. This is way off topic,
Good.
but I'm doing psychedelic therapy, medicinal therapies right now.
You have like a one-man test going for your health, right?
I have a separate one-man clinical trial for an incurable disease. I kind of just have applied a lot of entrepreneurial skill sets into things because I didn't have that kind of background. I didn't model those kind of actions. I was pretty much a recluse my whole life. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't like growing up.
Yeah.
And so I've just decided I don't want to live the rest of my life in that way. So I like being challenged like that. Even if in that split moment I'm very uncomfortable, eventually I'm fine. And then I look back on it and say, that was such a good thing for me, like personally. So I appreciate that.
I love that because those challenges, and when people have health challenges, it's interesting how and what they learn from those really sometimes go over or cross over into the entrepreneurial side.
So I have an incurable esophageal disease. It's called echolalia. I've had a ton of surgeries on it. First 5 years I had it. I literally did nothing. I outsourced the disease to my doctors at the Mayo Clinic because I said, well, they're the Mayo Clinic.
They're the best, right?
Right. But here's what happens at the Mayo Clinic. They see 100 patients a day. So they're not looking at you as anything other than just get you in 5 minutes, get
Your
you out.
science.
Right. And after I had 15 minor procedures on my esophagus, 3 major surgeries. They've ripped my esophagus to shreds. And I go back for my checkup about 4 years ago, and they say, we're going to remove your esophagus at some point in the future, 5-10 years down the road. And you need to be prepared for that. And I remember telling the doctor at the time, I don't accept that. And by the way, I'd never Googled the disease in 5 years that I'd had it. Never Googled it. Like, that's how much fear I had with the disease. Like, I didn't want to address it. My own health, my own life, I didn't address it, right?
Talk about being more interested than interesting, right?
Right. And
fear-based, like
and you know how this is. Business owners don't make change until the pain is too big.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that because in that moment, the pain was too big. And I just said, I don't accept this. And I remember driving home from the Mayo Clinic, and I got to figure this thing out. So the first thing I did is Google the disease for the first time ever. But then I created sort of an outcome. I wrote an article in Inc., and I basically said, I'm going to find a cure to this incurable rare disease with no research dollars behind it, and I'll find it in 5 years. Well, that was 3 years ago. And in February of 2020, I will head to Johns Hopkins University and begin the first ever one-man clinical trial. It's never been done on animals, never done on people. They have extracted stem cells out of my thigh muscle 6 months ago. They've been growing and culturing them, and they will inject them into my esophagus to try to regenerate the nerves and the muscles in the esophagus. So we have no idea if it'll work. It may have a disastrous consequence. We just don't know. But I only know how to go for it.
Did you come up with the theory of that working, or did like the doctors work with you?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, and I found a doctor, and he put a team around me, and we got it took us 3 years to get FDA approval. And it's not even a clinical trial. It's a compassionate study. So it's like 3 steps. It's 3 steps before a clinical trial.
Wow. Which is okay to do on one person.
Yeah.
That is,
I guess,
indemnifying everybody.
We'll figure it out. But I'm going to go for it. I don't know. I just go. I've got to go for it. Like I can't wait for them. I can't wait for the disruption to happen to my health. So I'm going to.
Taking this into the business context too, it's really interesting because there's several things to unravel here that are keys to success. One, be more interested than interesting. I see this all the time, that people have great ideas or challenges,
right,
and they literally, because of fear and interference or corrosion between the inspiration that they're completely connected to all the time, they literally just go through the motions, right? Okay, I'll do the accelerator program. All right, I have a template for my business plan. It's the same as just going, because they're the best, right? I'm with this accelerator. It's just like going to the Mayo Clinic without ever thinking, Googling. I tell people all the time, pay attention, give it intention, and the coincidences that you want would happen. What I love about your intent is that you take somebody that's afraid in its essence to even do research about it and turn it completely on its back, and you're not even afraid of the results that you're going to have with some theory that you came up with because you got one doctor or a team to buy into it, which is great because that's how coincidences happen. And someday, because you had excuse my language, the balls to do that, what if you're right?
Yeah, it'd be really cool. Yeah. But I mean, if not, that's cool too.
Can they name the surgery after you, like the Stutts procedure?
I hope not. But if it doesn't work, I'll go to plan B.
Right.
I'm good.
Well, that's entrepreneurial. That's entrepreneurial.
I've got the love of my family and my kids. If they remove my esophagus and I'm on a feeding tube, I'll deal with it. I'm good.
Yeah.
I know what's important.
And so crossing it back over.
Yeah.
So now that you always have that looming in the background, it's a big project of yours, et cetera. But you have a lot of other successful things. One of the things I have done research myself about you, which is really intriguing, is the digital marketing side.
Sure.
You're a leader in the space. You're a great digital marketer. Yeah. And it's a difficult space because 99% of the people, it's like statistics. 99% of statistics are all made up. I feel like 99% of all digital marketers are just making up shit.
Yeah.
They don't know.
That's my biggest.
Well, it's like a doctor telling you, this is going to happen in 5 or 10 years. With acceleration and growth of technology, anybody that tells you what's going to be happening 5 to 10 years from now is a fool.
Sure. Facebook
is absolutely a fool.
Facebook was an incredible platform 4 years ago. It's an awful platform now for the most part, right? Listen, I come from politics, right? So I've had a political marketing agency. We've built it really successfully over the last 5 years. And then I sort of wrote this book and then switched over to sort of corporate marketing using political principles. Well, the political principles are really easy.
They're emotional principles, right?
No, they're data-backed principles. Everything we do
But
in
by
politics,
emotion, aren't you like looking at the emotional data?
I am, but based on what the data tells us will drive emotion, right? So like if a candidate runs for office, the first thing they do is that I say to them, what do you believe in? And they'll give me 10 things they love to talk. I want to talk about the environment and taxes, blah, 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 whatever. And then this is a very rudimentary way just for the speed of the podcast. But we'll go in that state. Let's say this guy's running for governor. And we'll go in that state and we will poll the entire state of the voters. What is it going to get us to victory on election day? And I think election day is the key to the whole thing. This is why I think we're uber innovative, because we have a win, or it's like sports, right? You either win or lose, and you're out of business if you lose too much. So we find out what the voters care about. We find out basically 2 issues that will drive voter turnout more than anything else. And we go to that politician, we say, good, you got 10 things, 8 of them we're never talking about again. The data is telling us we're only going to talk about these 2 things. And then what we do is we design a whole marketing plan around that. Then we rebrand them based on those 2 issues. And then we go out and test all of those issues in 100 different ways. So, for example, in the 2016 presidential campaign, I didn't do this, but this is a great example. We're not here to talk about right, left. We're not here to do that.
Yeah, it's data.
Donald Trump's campaign ran one ad 164 different times on Facebook, different colors, different fonts, different placements, different pictures, everything. And they would find out what moved people. Sometimes it was a green background, sometimes it was a different font, but they could find one ad out of 160 plus of the same ad that crushed. And then they would shove their chips all in. And so what I realized was there's this 5-step process that we use in politics. It's data, it's a sort of a strategy, it's the brand, it's testing, and then it's go launch. And I went, man, marketers on the corporate side never follow, like 99% of them don't follow this process. They go, let's throw some Facebook ads up. Or we sat around the table and we had this crazy brainstorm session today. And then I started, this is what's crazy, and this is why I'm glad I'm here. Then I started thinking about it, and almost every industry follows this exact same formula, including sports. So if the 49ers play a game, on Monday after the game, they are studying the data of the past game and the future opponent, right? They are looking at all the plays, the data, what is going to work, what's not. Then the step 2 is they're going to put their game plan together.
Yeah.
For the weekend. Then the owners of the team are going to clean the stadium, clean the jerseys, get the brand on point, get the concessions ready, get everything ready. That's step 3, right? Step 4 is, what do? They go out and practice the dang plays all week. And they figure out what works and what doesn't work. And what's going to win, what's not going to win. And then they go play the game. They launch on step 5. This is the same formula that sports teams use to win championships. It's the same formula
decades.
Trial lawyers use to win court cases. It's the same formula real estate agents use to sell houses. It's the same formula. Marketers are not using it. So the companies that have come into ours, we force them. They cannot work with us unless they follow this formula because it eliminates their risk. It's all following what the data says and testing it and figuring out before they go spend a lot of money. And if a company comes in and says, well, we want the get rich quick pill.
Yeah, right.
And I go, no, that doesn't work. So if I can give you an example of this, right? So like we work with an apparel company. And we went out and tested a bunch of things. We could overlay their customer data and find out everything their customers know and think and want. We have a partnership with the largest data collection company in America. And what we found was we went out and found all these different data points of what their customers liked and all these different segments. And then we created a plan and we rebranded and all that stuff. And then we ran the ads. And what we found is 2 different ads crushed of all the ads we ran. For women, an ad that said a third-party validation, like a 5-star review ad, crushed. Women for this apparel that wanted to buy from this apparel company wanted the validation that other people approved of the ad. Men didn't give a dang about that. Men, and I do this with all our clients, we sort of incorporate. So you've heard of negative political advertising, right? Everybody hates it. I get that. I don't want to whack anybody over the head with a political ad in corporate. In politics, I'm good with it. But in corporate, I don't. But I like the principle. I call it comparatizing, so comparative advertising. Well, what we did was we ran with the men in this apparel company, ran an ad that said, don't buy your clothes from a shoe company. Just don't do it. Okay?
Nice.
The data told us that the customer wanted a higher standard of clothing line. So we figured let's just go after and attack these things. None of their customers were offended by this. But it was the most... it was the biggest conversion we had of all ads we ran. I think we were getting them at 1 cent per conversion because the data told us all these things. And then we went out and tested and found what worked. And then we started crushing it for them on that side.
So I totally understand, and I'm a huge fan of this because I've built my brand on minuscule amounts compared to most people because I test. Yeah. Right. I have test accounts. I test stuff and I see and I understand the emotional side, like women want validation or men like the negative kind of comparative. It brings
the emotion out.
Exactly.
Right.
Where I'm, confused still on the social media side of branding myself is that really odd things sometimes pop and then we'll use it. Like if you use
That's
the
right.
word Uber, right? Like just this word. And I cannot understand why putting the Uber logo in anything of mine would make a difference, or a certain color.
Sure.
What do you think it is? And maybe it's just because I have limited testing, but I will tell you, it's like I can post a video and get 500, views compared to 500,000, and it's the same exact one except for it's red.
Sure. So the great people that are doing brands in this world are spending $10 million a month.
Right.
And other
Not
than
10,000.
well, it's funny. I was having a long meeting yesterday with a top 20 business influencer in the world right now. Yeah. And he was like...
He's right behind me.
Yeah. And he said, I can't figure out this game. It's crushing me. And what we figured out was everybody is looking for a better connection. So, if you had $10 million, man, you could test everything and have a science behind it.
Right.
Or
And nail it.
$10 million
Then you go all in.
Right.
Because that's what I do at a smaller level, right?
Correct.
I test, and then something hits, and I go all in, and it kills it, and then I repurpose it and use it on other one. And I get my investment so much, exponentially compared to, I see these marketers out there, I'll take 20%, give me 10, 20 grand a month, and they throw crap.
Well, because they're not basing anything on what the data is saying. At least you're testing this thing. And I'm uber impressed by what you guys do,
The magic of the Meltzer group.
Yeah, no, they do a really good job.
They're lucky. Yeah.
It is. And the same thing when I, with Gary Vaynerchuk, we're mutual friends, and we had this kind of same conversation, but he's willing to go out and try anything and everything, evaluate what works, and then put more lighter fluid on what works.
Like why I'm a Gary fan, as a friend, is when he started the sports agency, I was completely abundant, right? In a very scarce business. This, sports agency is a scarce business. And I was like let me just tell you let me tell you the secrets. Let me try to dissuade you as much as I can from doing this. My first advice was don't do it. Right. Just put your name on somebody else's and hang around the athletes, buy some tickets. But on the other side, he has been the most, he will tell me, I only have 3 to 5 minute meetings or phone calls with him. Not just because I'm an efficient guy, because I just come to him. If it's not going to be visiting, I come to him and say, Gary, give me the top 3 tips. That's our whole conversation. I'm more than happy to help you on the sports side, whatever you want to know, but I just want to know what you've learned the last month. Yeah. Give me the top 3 things, because I can't afford to go farther than the top 3 anyway. And he nails it.
I know. And here's the great thing. I've done a lot of interviews. Every interview is like, what's Gary Vaynerchuk like? And I say the same thing every time.
Now they'll start asking what Dave Meltzer's like. You hear that,
That's
G?
right.
I'm right here, buddy.
What you see with Gary is exactly the same person, except he probably gives more behind the scenes than he talks about giving in front of other people.
I agree with that.
He gives and gives without any expectation. It's the way the world should work right now. And frankly, if you talk about the way businesses should act, that's the way they should act. They should give as much as possible without, it is the key to the whole thing.
Yeah. My suggestion to everyone is Gary's great giving a series of questions to get to how he can provide value to everyone in the whole world. Yeah. And I've added a component that most people don't get to, which takes true radical humility. It's because I'm older and I lost all my money and made it back, is I not only focus, as you know, on a series of questions of how I can provide value or service, but I also really empower people. You got to ask questions, a series of questions to figure out how can Phillip help me? And that takes great humility.
Sure.
In the past 10 years ago, I would have felt good about myself because I would only ask you, all right, who can I hook you up with, brother? You're so generous. Thank you for coming on. Yeah. All about what can I do for you? And never once would I say, hey, who do you know that I could get to come on the podcast? Or, what advice would you give me? You watch my stuff, should this be in green? Mm-hmm. And I've learned to do that over the last few years, to ask a series of questions of how you can help me as well.
That's good.
And hasn't taken away.
Of course not.
It's just allowed me to give more.
That's right.
Because I have more.
Yeah.
So that's my big shift in paradigm. To finish up, because you're a leader in all these spaces, but the general thread is you know how to move the needle with marketing.
Right.
Traditional and digital.
Yeah.
What's your number one tip, or what's your shift in your paradigm or perspective that you think would help everyone for the playbook?
So maybe I'll give you two.
Please, you can give me three.
Will be an offer to
help them all
to the listeners. But one is, every business owner loves to talk about how great their product or service is.
They're in love with it.
I do it.
They're in love with it.
I love it. It's not about you. It's about how does your customer feel about your product or service, and you must deliver to that. And if you're thought just like you are, and the thing is, I need to think through who this person is, you need to think through your customer. I always say, and I spent a ton of money to get licensing agreements so I could take a company's data and overlay it and track them and find out not what they say, what they do online, what platforms they're going to in a chronological order, what their values are in life. And then I can design a product or a service around a message that says, wow, they speak to me. That's the whole thing. And so many business owners get it wrong. They go, no, I have a great product and service. I just need to tell people.
Right. They're in love with their product.
I know, and I get it. And so we, and I'll offer this to your listeners, but we created this like marketing audit, free marketing audit, where anybody can go in, spend 5 minutes filling out their publicly available digital footprint. And then my team will spend 2 business days poring over what they do. And then we produce a 25-point report that basically says what you're doing right, what you can improve on. We'll do a 30-minute call for free. You do not have to hire us. This is not trust me on this.
That's why I do my executive coaching, man. Free assessment, man.
95% of people that do this don't hire us. If they want to hire us, it's great, but that's not the point. I want to give value before. So
Matt, you got to apply, bro.
We've done over 600 at this point since the book came out.
601 right here.
Yeah, and I'm on most of these calls because I like learning about these businesses too. So it's been really cool. But my thing is, I'm obsessed with data, because in politics, I've never gone through a campaign in 24 years where I didn't say, what do the voters care about first?
Nice.
That's all I care about. What are the voters? I love the politician that I work with, but I really love the voter. And it's the same thing. This is where Gary and I had like a simpatico moment. I care about the business owner, but I love the customer. I love the customer. And I think that's what business owners need to really get focused on.
Well, that could be our simpatico moment as well, because I absolutely am here to impact others, to be happy. So my greatest concern is that ultimate customer about what you do. And I love the fact that you're just here to give an assessment of how you can be a profit center for someone, and you've detached yourself from that outcome. That's extraordinary. I learned so much. This is one of those times where, like you said, we only have so much time.
Yeah, it's all good.
You're good at squeezing it all in, Phillip. If you want to try it out, Win Big, exactly. Win Big Media, unbelievable offer, just like my executive coaching.
It's at phillipstutts.com.
phillipstutts.com. This is an extraordinary offer. Very few people, that's why I do executive coaching. Yeah. They say, oh, can I hire you? I'm like, no. I literally need alignment to see how I can make you happy, how I can help you. I'm in love with my customer, not my product. That's a great lesson for today. Phillip Stutts, Win Big Media, the founder and CEO, and more importantly, a true entrepreneur, here with Dave Meltzer on Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.